This part here is a bit of a problem.
Hello and welcome to Midlife. If you're new around here, welcome along. If you're an existing subscriber, thanks very much for subscribing. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a mod to my Mini, and it's not a normal mod. It's not changing the wheels, it's not de-chroming, it's not doing coilovers, it's not 4D number plates, but today I'm looking at the interior and the trim specific. The bits we're going to be changing out is this bit here where the key fob goes, the piece round just down there, and then the bit just here above the glove box. For some reason, I just didn't really like the red trim. So I did manage to get some grey trim to replace it. I think it's a similar kind of process to what you do to when you change the stereo unit or have to replace the stereo unit, which I'm still considering. So yeah, let's get on with it. This is the easy part. We just literally lever the armrest off, and then these should just clip basically back into place. There we go. So that's the armrest done. This is the new bit that I've got for it, well, new second hand. As you can see, there's 2 screws on the top and 1, 2, 3 underneath. Now I think the ones underneath are quite easily accessible via the glove box from underneath here. However, there are 2 that we need to get to, which seem to be behind here. I'm going to have a little bit of a look at that now and see what we get using these trim removal bits, which I've never used. It has revealed a screw. I'm not sure if it's the right one though. So it looks like we're going to have to take off the air vent to get to that screw. Have a look on the other one and see what we've got. Truth be known, that was quite tricky, and it's still finicky now to get out, but it's come out. And we can actually see one of the screws there. So it does look like we're going to have to take the air vents off a little bit to gain access to the screws, which is a bit of a blow. So you can just about get to that one screw without taking that off, but this one is a different ball game. So I think I'm going to have to take off the end panel somehow. I've had to remove this side panel, and within here there's 2 screws. There's one down here which I've already taken out, and there's another one just tucked up here, so I'm about to take that one out and see how we get on with that. Alright, 3 screws out, and this is now loose, which means I can now access that screw behind there, so that's good. Try not to drop the screws. They all look the same size, so hopefully I don't have to worry about getting the right screws for the right holes, you know. 1, 2, 3. God, am I going to be able to get to that one? That's looking a little bit shaky. Hopefully that should now come out, which it does. So it wasn't too bad. Now it's just a case of getting the grey one on. So let's see how we go. So obviously we've got to try and feed it in. And that's that. What's it going to look like? I think it's going to look much better. So all I've got to do now is basically get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws back in on this, then the screws to hold the vents back in place, and that is the passenger side done. Easy. When you've finished on this side, whatever you do, don't put the screws back in, because you will need to actually get this cover off here to enable you to get to these screws behind here. So my advice to you is don't make the same mistake that I did. because this cost me an extra 30 minutes at least, because I had to take apart the passenger side again. That works, and that to me just looks so much nicer in here. I'm really happy with that. Oh, by the way, if you're enjoying this content and it's proving useful to you, then please feel free to buy me a coffee. The link is in the description below. And on this side, I believe there's 3 screws under here. And then this panel just clips out. And then we've got to somehow remove this plastic section here. By the way, for the driver's side, you will need to remove the air vent as well. It's 3 screws, the same as the other side. Behind the front plastic panel, there is 1 screw, and then onto the sides, there are 2. Under this bit, there's some kind of ribbon cable and a connection block. And I need to figure out how that comes out. This bit was a little bit tricky, but you have to take the front panel off first of all. And that side came out fairly easy. This side, I discovered there was a little metal lug, which is really hard to see on this. But basically you had to push the lug in to be able to clip it out. And then it looks like we're faced with 4 small torque screws. So in theory, I unscrew those, take those out, and then I can put it into the new panel, or the new old panel. This should just clip back into place, which it does to a certain degree. Feels a bit loose, but hopefully it's okay. Okay, so that's that part back on, which seems to be working. I've just checked the ignition and everything seems to fire up. Now this part here is a bit of a problem, because it looks like I've got to actually remove the Speedo front to get to the screws behind there, which means I've got to take all this off again. So my advice to you, if you're doing this job, is don't put anything back together until you've got every single piece in place. So the worst case fear has come true. I do have to remove this Speedo cover, and to do that there's 2 little clips which you pull out from there, which will reveal 2 screws, which I'm not sure if you can see on that video. 2 screws round by the air vents. I think there was 1 down there and 1 up there. Quite finicky to get to. And then hopefully once I've got those 2 screws out, I can then remove the Speedo cover to get to the screw that's holding that in. I left this piece until last because I thought this was going to be the easiest bit to do, and I was wrong. And there's the screw on that side, which is really tucked under, so I'm a little bit nervous about this part, if I'm honest. I'm not going to lie, this is probably the hardest bit in the whole process, getting these 2 screws out above the Speedo. It's really tricky, and I am absolutely dreading getting the things back in after. And it's off, and you can see it reveals a screw right there. Really awkward. So am I happy with this project? Yes, absolutely. Changing the red to the grey just makes me feel better, and if you can make a change in your life that makes you feel better, then why not do it? Okay, it's 3 hours out of your life, but it's worth it if you feel better from doing it. Thanks for watching. If you found this content useful, don't forget to buy me a coffee. The link will be in the description below, and we'll see you in the next video, whatever that is.